In preparation for the WASC Business Seminar, Thuli Zulu is the embodiment of a brand and communication specialist. CEO of CREA8 International, she is a leader who is an example of what we stand for at Wake Up and Smell the Cappuccino, and that is simply motivation made practical. Here's what she had to say about running a successful business.
I was like, okay, am I equipped enough to go out and independently be able to give a service or offer a product that is compelling enough? For me, entrepreneurship is that. It's how am I serving the recipient? How am I able to bring my ingenuity into filling gaps within the market? And I think entrepreneurs are people who see things that other people don't see.
Yes.
Okay, so that is entrepreneurship for me, and being able to translate that into monetary value. I think the drive and the passion to say, listen, we're just going out there and we're not sure, like we haven't really audited. We're not sure if like the other people who are competitors, we didn't do like a situational analysis or competitor analysis. We were just like, we have something to offer that is different from the stream, and that's it. And we really went by that impulse to start a communications agency. We started off at an impulse, and I think times have changed now. You've got to be able to do the research behind anything that you're going to start, you know, and then you think you can just go off, not understanding that there are processes and systems that are precursors to starting anything. So the foundation is then you might have the skill set, but understanding all the different dynamics and streams that pull into running a business, I think is where a lot of people and that's the thing, it's pulling in all the different resources. So my team will have the head of operations who's very tight in understanding how operations runs within this ecosystem that we've built here. Then I will have a graphic designer, senior graphic designer, creative art directors, because that person, it's their discipline. So we call them subject matter experts, which is also like a double enclave from SME, so small medium enterprise. But how I look at my team is that my SMEs are my subject matter experts, and that's the thing, is you pull in all the different disciplines of what makes a communications agency. I can't be a senior graphic designer and I become the trafficker and I become, you know, the leader of the organization and I'm doing strategy. In the beginning, I started off like that, really pulling in and doing everything on my own, outsourcing one or two functions. But if I get people to run in their lane and do what they do best, I found that that's a formula that worked for me. And then work on an exit strategy. So if you know you want to be out of that particular place, to start your own thing, then work on a year's plan. To say in that year, do I need to raise funds? What type of funds? Instead of me using my budget on social things, can I save 500 Rand a month? Okay, so I think a lot of times agencies want to tell. They don't want to listen to clients and see how they can become strategic partners. So when we have a client, we don't see ourselves as a service provider, because a service distinction and a barrier between us and them. When we go in and we say we're working with your brand, we will ask to go through training for your brand. We will ask to spend a bit of time in your premises. We will interview the people that work there. We'll really get into the DNA and into the pulse of what this organization is about. And I think a lot of times people go get a brief, then they come back, put together a solution, and they're ready. We've built a retention strategy where we're able to keep it or seek other opportunities whilst we're with the clients. And I think being myopic in your view of what you can only do and saying this is only what we do is not part of our philosophy. When we get to a client, we say to a client, oh, we were here for this particular function, but we see other gaps or other opportunities opening up in these other different spheres. Like I said, I started this business as an independent contractor or a consultant or freelancer. I really wasn't planning on mining all this data, you know, getting all these big contracts and scaling at the rate I scaled at. So I mean, there's so many things within the value chain that you learn about in business from. I think every business leader has to be a decisive person. You don't have to make the decision on the spur of the moment. And that's another thing I've learned, is that I don't always have to respond to everything immediately. For me, you can be as brilliant as you are, but if you don't arrive on time for client meetings, if you give substandard work, then you could have the greatest of concepts or the greatest of ideas, but if you can't articulate them, meticulously and be quite pedantic about the type of work that you produce, then you really have failed to yourself. Because ultimately I want the churn rate. I want clients to come back and say, we want to use you again, you know, or that was so brilliant, even if this campaign has ended, but we're thinking about future campaigns. So always have a bigger picture in mind and not just short-term spurts. And I think having grown throughout the years, I was very excited to just have an account and then just work on that account. But now I'm like at a trajectory where I'm saying, okay, fine, we have this account. Can we grow this account into a 3-year contract?
Yes.
Oh, accessibility is a huge... Accessibility is one of the biggest gaps that we have right now. I think people don't know the platforms and the access points that they have. And government is trying its best through DTI and through SMMEs, with the ministers to come put together interventions and programs. But I do think if there was accessibility, and I think social media could become an engine or a tool to be able to allow young people to start having those conversations, asking which agencies, which entities have opportunities for them. I think keep focused, have a great understanding and a knowing of who you are as an entrepreneur. There are going to be days where you don't want to get out of bed. There are going to be days you ask yourself, you second guess yourself. There are going to be days you're like, I've been slugging so hard, I have so much to give, but nobody is buying into my idea. Keep on keeping at it.
Yes.
Like gold has to be refined when it goes into the refinery, you will go through the fire in order for you to come out as a finished product. It might not come in the fashion that you expected in, and it might not come from the people you expected from.
Yes.
I think being open and serving the process. Serving the process will ultimately reward you in many other ways.